Are you at your wit's end trying to figure out how to write a great introduction for this essay you've been killing yourself to write? Don't worry, good help is right here. Welcome to Effective Essay Writing Part 7, a teacher helper video by Ashley Marshall. In this video, we're going to look at what a hook is, how to make a hook, and what to include in an introduction. Just like when you're fishing and you try to hook the big one in an essay you need to come up with a great hook to pull in your reader and grab their attention. You want to have something interesting that's loosely related to your essay. You want to start with a bang and hook your reader in. But the question, of course, is how do you do that? Well, one way is you can have a statistic, a wild statistic like 90% of the world hates public speaking, or an imagined scenario. Imagine being trapped on an island with only food and your favorite novel. Or a famous quote. Charles Barkley once proclaimed, "I'm not a role model." Or you can have just a bold statement. Everyone in the world needs love. Any one of these starter sentences is a great opening that gets your reader interested in what you're talking about, even if they don't agree with what you're saying. So which one to use? Well, just pick the one that you're comfortable with and go with it. But I know you're thinking, come on Ashley, show me how to do it. Let's do just that. Let's imagine that we're writing an essay about Romeo and Juliet. A statistic you might have is 95% of the world knows who Romeo and Juliet are. Or an imagined scenario that says, if you could pick anyone in the world to play you in the story of your life, who would it be? Or a famous quote, maybe even a quote from the play itself. Young men's love lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. Or a bold statement based on the play. There are always characters who are just like you. The next question, of course, is what else do we need to include in our introduction? Well, in your introduction, you need to only introduce things. If you're doing anything else except introducing things, you're doing it wrong. Now, in your introduction specifically, you want to have a hook, as we just discussed. You want to have a thesis. Now, if you don't know what that is or how to write a great one, go back to part 2 in this series for help. But in this case, our thesis is going to be about similarities between ourselves and a character in William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. And that character we've chosen is the nurse. Speaking of William Shakespeare and his play Romeo and Juliet, in your introduction, you want to introduce the author and the text that you're talking about. And lastly, you want to introduce your 3 arguments. If you're not sure about them or how to write them properly, go back to part 4 in this series. But for this video, our 3 arguments are going to be that the nurse is chatty, caring, and loyal, just like us. Now, here's an essay planning sheet that we would use for a typical essay. If you're not sure about how to make these, go back to part 4 as well. But in your planning sheet, in the introduction section, you should have your thesis already written, a hook that you're going to use, and at least an outline or sketch of what your 3 arguments will be. So, here we go. In every story ever written, one can always find characters like themselves. This is especially true of William Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet, where the character of the nurse bears much resemblance to me personally. It is clear that we are both chatty, caring, and loyal. Well, let's see how we did here. Every story ever written, always find. Those words suggest a bold statement. That must be our hook. William Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet, well, of course that's our author and text. This says the character of the nurse bears much resemblance to me personally. That's definitely our thesis. And at the bottom here, chatty, caring, and loyal, our 3 arguments are there. Hey, yay us! We've just written a great introduction. In this video, we've talked about what a hook is, how to make a hook, and what to include in an introduction. If you're interested in knowing what a clincher is, how to make a clincher, and how to write a conclusion, you should check out Effective Essay Writing Part 8, another teacher helper video. Ooh, a subscribe button, a Facebook button. Ooh, go on, click. You know you want to. They're right there. You can do it. I believe in you. Click.